and you're good.
All right, I will call the March 28th, 2022 meeting of the Planning Commission to order, and we'll do a roll call. And why don't you announce your presence, and we'll start with Vera. Vera Worthy,
Cynthia Batty,
Matthew Lovely.
Gail Seitz,
George Velasquez.
And here we have absent John Lafferty, Kristen Zuma, and Bree Rivera, and waiting on Kira Bonaruiz.
correct.
Okay.
And next on the agenda are the minutes, which hopefully you've had a chance to take a look at. Kathy always does such a great job. Is there a motion to approve the February meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
any discussion, comments? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, and before we get into the next agenda item, why don't we just briefly talk about the February meeting and our recommendations. So we made recommendations to City Council regarding special exceptions, the makeup of the Board of Adjustment, code changes for re-subdivisions and site plans. And all was passed by council. All of the code changes were passed by council, which will come to benefit us because all the site plan specifics and, there were a lot of improvements, except for the Board of Adjustment, and council voted to have a citizens board made up of 4 citizens plus the mayor.
wasn't it 5 citizens?
Well, the mayor plus 4.
Oh, mayor plus
additional,
4, okay.
Citizens, and our recommendation, I thought was a very good one, but it was a recommendation, and it was a sort of a compromise
really like
because it seemed like there were strong feelings and rationalizations for the way the Board of Adjustment is currently, because it's working well and you've got the professionals on it. But then there were others that felt like it really should be more of a citizen board. And so I thought our recommendation of leaving the existing people on it and adding 2 citizens was a good one. But I think it was 4-1, and they voted to have the citizens board, 4 citizens plus the mayor. So,
Can I say something about that? Just in terms of the minutes, which I've agreed to approve. But I got feedback that some people thought that Mayor Caranto was telling me what to do. Nobody tells me what to do. I just want to make that perfectly clear. I happen to agree with Mayor Caranto, but he asked me to tell everyone his feelings, and so I did that out of respect for him and you, since I was communicating with him. But for absolute clarity, I do what I think is right. Thank you.
And I listened to the council meeting, and he was very vocal about his position to council.
Yeah, and he's right, but we live in a democracy, so.
All right, so moving on to the next agenda item, and the summary of this is that there's actually a mistake in the comprehensive plan on map 3, which is the suggested land use map or future land use map. And so I'm not sure anyone here, well, Vera, you were involved in, we spent 2.5 years probably coming up with the comprehensive plan, which is an update to the 2009 comprehensive plan. And we spent quite a bit of time on this particular map. And the consultant actually talks about the time spent by planning commission on page 39 of the comprehensive plan. It was created after careful review and multiple discussions with the planning commission. And the reason for that is that the 2009 comprehensive plan, about half of this map was blank. So there was no suggested land use. And when we went to state planning, you have to do it's called a pre-plus review with state planning before you dive into the next comprehensive plan. That was one of the things that they said we must do. We must fill in this map. So this map is supposed to represent the future, the suggested land use for the city. And it's at a higher level. So this is map 3 in your comp plan. And it's at a higher level than the zoning map. Jeff Bergstrom made me a little bit bigger copies, but I don't know if everybody can see. So yes, and they're always different, different colors, I guess, depending on the print. So the land use map, it's at a higher level. So you just have residential and all the residential areas, industrial, all the industrial areas, commercial, all the commercial areas, etc. Whereas when you get to zoning, it's at a more detailed level. And so you'll have 3 different categories of residential, and it's all defined in the code book. So R1, single family, R2, you can have 2 families, and there's probably other, and then you get to R3, and you can have apartment built, higher rise, etc. But for land use and for future land use, it's just at a higher level saying, okay, this is residential, this is industrial, this is commercial, this is kind of our view of the city. So the area that we need to look at and correct, and both Jeff Bergstrom, our building administrator, and what's Jeff's
Building official.
Building-
And fire marshal.
building official and fire marshal. And I've also spoken to Bill Barthel, our city administrator, that this was a mistake. So a little bit more history for the comprehensive plan, the update that we did. This was not done by AECom, so our current city engineer, David Appy, and planner, Chris Rogers, and Chris has come to our meetings. So Chris is our planning consultant, and David is the city's engineering consultant. They both work for AECom. This was done by another company, KCI. And so both companies bid. So you always get a consultant to help you through the process, because the process is it's outlined by the state. Like the state tells you, state planning tells you, these are the chapters you have to have, these are the maps you have to have. I mean, it's your plan, but they kind of dictate. And so these consultants understand what needs to go into the comp plan. And it's our plan, it's for the city of Newcastle, but we have to follow all the state rules. So you have a consultant, both KCI and AECom bid. KCI was chosen, and Debbie Feel actually used to be the city planner, and she used to work for AECom. But there was a lot of transition, and it was also COVID during a lot of this time. And by the end of the plan, Debbie, our consultant, had actually been transferred to Arizona. So I'm not trying to make excuses, but this just kind of fell through the cracks, and I guess it wasn't discovered until after the fact. So the what's in question on map 3 is in Buttonwood. And if you can see this map, this is Buttonwood here. And it's all residential except for this piece on Route 9. So this is Route 9. Except for this piece, which is commercial. And this is Boothurst over here, which is residential. So this commercial piece, from what Jeff tells me, at some point in time, that I don't know who that it was decided that, I don't know, so many feet from Route 9 would be commercial and the rest of Buttonwood would be residential. And, you know, since then, and the planning commission recognized that we were getting a lot of applications to put residential, so not have the whole area commercial that's outlined on this map. So we decided that part of it should be residential, the back part, like the rest of Buttonwood, and just the very frontage
Street
should be, should
yeah.
be commercial. So,
Are there things there now? I'm trying to visualize.
yes,
Is that
okay.
where the liquor
So,
store is and stuff?
no.
Some kind of oil company, I don't know.
It's HVAC. Yep.
Okay.
Right there on the corner.
So here is, this is blown up a little bit. And so this area, right, so this Buttonwood back here, here's Boothurst over here. This whole area is currently on map 3, suggested future land use as commercial, where is, so the change the planning commission thought was on the map was, we said this part should be residential and just the very frontage should be commercial. And so here's an aerial view of, so this should remain commercial. There is an HVAC business here. I think this lot is vacant right now, and this is a drainage ditch. So it's another lot, but it's a drainage ditch. So this part would remain commercial. This would become residential. And there's actually been people communicating with Jeff who want to improve this by building houses, which is a good thing for the
Yeah,
city. It's what the
sure,
city
yeah,
wants. And so anyway, so it was a mistake that it remains on the map, the map 3 as commercial, just this part.
So how do we fix it?
So from talking to Jeff and to Bill, they suggested that we make a motion, planning commission, and planning commission really did map 3. I mean, this as part of the comp plan to fix the map, basically. So I've written out a motion, which I thought I'd share with everyone. Jeff and Bill have looked at it and they say it's okay. So I was going to read the motion, but I wanted to discuss it first, give you background as to what this is all about. Now, the follow-up to this one, so the problem with having map 3 incorrect is, so the actual zoning is also going to have to be changed for them to build houses back here. But as long, so by state planning, if you go to do a zoning change from commercial to residential and your future map shows something else, you have to go to state planning and you have to do all these applications and pay a lot of money. And so we need to get this corrected. And then city council actually votes on zoning changes. And so Jeff said he would then take it to city council. It may come back to us before to do the actual zoning, but we can't do that. So questions or?
I just have one question, which is in that space, is there anything that's commercial now or is it just empty?
Just in
The space that we want to say is residential. So we don't have to grandfather anybody. Or
No.
anything. Okay.
I mean, there's some cement, that they might, there's nothing commercial in this space. The only commercial entity right now is this HVAC.
Thank you.
There's houses behind there.
Yeah, yeah, there's actually
There's a
some
couple houses
houses on
behind
this,
that
and so I don't
building.
know if they got variances. But this
I think
is
they did
all,
when they
res-
built the ones across the street. I
uh-huh,
think they did then, but then there was the problem with it because there used to be a store behind that HVAC building. There was a store there.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, and I think they, if I'm not mistaken, they've been closed like for years and years and years. And it's there. And on the other side of the street, I'm looking at it from Boothurst.
okay.
I'm looking across
You
the
mean
street.
across the
Yeah,
street,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking
across
the
Route
street.
9?
Mhm.
Uh-huh,
And then on that other corner, there's nothing there, on Route 9, for maybe about 500 feet or so, and then there's a house behind there. And then the rest of the houses are, down the street, but right there, there's nothing there.
okay.
Maybe I'm misunderstanding.
Okay,
Is it going from,
commercial to residential. So this stays commercial,
okay,
this
so,
all is commercial right now.
okay, so this represents both tracks as
Mhm.
commercial. And we want to basically cut that gray in half
Right,
and make it,
just
the
make
back
this
half residential. Okay,
residential
okay.
like the rest of it. That will remain commercial.
okay, got it.
So the motion I wrote to correct map 3 suggested land use in the comprehensive plan to make the Buttonwood parcels along Route 9 residential like the rest of Buttonwood, except for parcels 21-001-00006, 21-001-00002, and 21-001-00001. So these 3, which will remain commercial. This change is necessitated because of a clerical error in creating the map. And so I think, so that's the motion.
I'll second it.
All right. Any discussion?
Okay with it. It makes sense.
I guess my question is, do we really have to make the change, or is it just a clarification?
We need to change the map
Okay.
for then the actual zoning map to get
Okay,
changed
so it actually
without,
specifies specific parcels currently that shouldn't have been.
right,
Okay, okay,
we need to get the map changed.
yes, good,
Okay.
sorry.
Any other discussion? Are we ready to vote? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, so I will follow up with Jeff, and I believe he'll have change the suggested land use map. And then we'll see what happens from there with the zoning change, whether council will, once this suggested land use map is changed, whether they'll go ahead and change the zoning or whether they'll wait for one of the applications to come along.
I think anything we can do to encourage people to build houses here is a very good idea.
Right,
So, yeah,
right. And there is interest,
good,
which is a good thing.
really encouraged.
Just off the cuff, do we anticipate any feedback or any pushback from local residents?
No, I think, well, from what I understand from Jeff and all the applications and all the interest, sort of funnels through him,
Right.
that's,
It's a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, good, good. Great, good.
Oh my
Alright.
goodness, something good.
We did something good. We recommended something good.
I think most of the neighbors will be happy that something else is going to be. put there.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Because it's an eyesore.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's an eyesore right now.
I drove through the other day just to look at it, and yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
houses would be a
Definitely.
nice
improving.
improvement there.
So now that gas station, let's do something with that. But that's not Newcastle.
I know, when you look at our map,
So
isn't
funny,
it?
that's like right across the
Isn't it
street.
crazy?
Yeah.
And it's not.
Our
and
city
it has
map.
nothing to do with the city.
That ugly thing across the way that's closed now?
Yeah.
That's
Um,
environmental issue here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any dead gas station is just a
I
nightmare
agree.
for everybody.
Absolutely.
Feel it.
So, Oh, well.
All right, charging stations for electric cars. We usually start off with John,
Yeah.
and I understand John got a new job and he's currently working at night, so I'll have to check back in with him to see what that means for planning commission. George, do you have an update?
I did speak with Scott Municipal Services. He said that the request for proposal has closed and is out for public comment at DENREC for the other chargers. So it's going to have the Delaware Municipal Electric Company reach out to them to see when the level 3 chargers would be available and see if we can get them like the level 2s. He also said it is a very slow process, and any news that he gets will update me. But just to hang tight and be patient, basically, because we're not there yet.
Right.
Yeah.
So the request has been made. Okay.
To the engineering department at DENREC.
All right.
So it's out for public comment. And we have to wait and see. if We're gonna be able to get the level 3s for that river plaza.
All right.
So I don't know how many level 2s they have still. John will know that as far as being utilized throughout the city. But we kind of wanted to wait for the level 3s there. Makes more sense based upon the
Right.
traffic that was in and out of there,
Shorter period of time.
you know? So
Cynthia, do you understand the level 2s versus level 3s?
For chargers?
Uh-huh.
Vaguely,
Okay.
yes.
level 3 is a lot
Yeah.
faster. you know?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
More juice in a shorter period of time.
Correct.
I'm just reflecting that they might actually be there in time for us to get an electric car,
Yeah,
which will be in about 9 years.
it should be there.
Thank you.
And I don't know if it came up in front of council. I know.
It
council-
did.
All
It's
right.
been discussed a couple of times.
But was it this month? Because in
It was last
February,
month.
What was that?
it was in
Oh,
March?
oh, I don't
Because
know.
in February, I think they were gonna do a drive around because there were still some of the level 2s that they had to sign. I don't know if it was brought up again.
You know how many they have left?
4 or 5, I think.
Really?
Well,
Ha,
Hack, yes.
all right.
Hack basically said, it's been decided where they're gonna go, nothing to talk about.
Oh.
So that was that. So apparently, city council must have talked about it in the meeting
Oh,
prior
right.
to the week prior.
So I thought Hack was dealing with
Design, I thought. so.
the,
Park
well, the
has no
street, like
jurisdiction
the,
on that. I mean, they didn't take jurisdiction when they were gonna tear up Delaware Street and wreck it, so why do they have any jurisdiction on this?
Yeah, so there was really no discussion, there was no,
all right.
yeah.
So, I think there's a lot of overlapping controlling forces here in town. And everybody needs to be nudged back onto their spot, or nothing's gonna ever happen,
Mhm.
so.
Huh. All right. So who would work on doing a design for people who park on the street? If it's not Hack?
Designed for,
For people who live in the historic district and park on the street.
Hmm.
They were talking about, some people had the,
Yeah, John, you had some ideas about designs. like, make it
right,
look a
he
little
was,
more historic
uh-huh.
looking,
yeah,
but it did not, I mean, it was brought up as, there's nothing to talk about,
right.
so.
All right, I'll check with John, because he was working with a company in England, I think,
Germany.
or Germany?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, I'll follow up with John.
I saw one of the local antique salvage companies had a whole bunch of pumps. And it made me laugh a little bit. I said, how could you turn those into charging stations? Or something like that. But I've also seen them done in things that look like where you tie horses out.
that's what my neighbor has.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think that's as good as it's gonna get, something
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
So it has to be
I'll have to
affordable.
look.
Individual humans have to buy this
Right.
stuff, right? And if it's
I know it's in Bull-
$8,000.
Yeah, not exactly which house.
Oh,
Yeah, I know you're in Bull Hill.
Tommy had his house with white and green combination.
Okay.
It would also be nice if you could hide it in the ground and just take it out when you needed it, but,
Mm-hmm.
now I'm entering into bad behavior on a committee, so I'm gonna be quiet.
Would be nice if they could be collapsible.
Wouldn't it be? Yeah, or you could just pull it out. I
Yeah.
think the challenge is that if a thing goes across the street, you have a trip hazard, and at least in the old town, that would hit my insurance.
Oh, I-
So we have to insure the fronts of our houses, so,
Mm.
in the historic district,
Mhm.
so, your umbrella policy would go super high.
All right, well, MAPCO transportation plan. The update is I checked in with Heather Dunnigan from WellMAPCO. And the consultant company Century Engineering is a bit behind on finalizing a plan. And she had hoped to receive it the end of last week or this week. And then was going to send it out for review to some of the other planning partners. And she thought that it would be available to the advisory committee and for a final public hearing, end of April, early May.
Great.
Getting there.
Right, your public hearing and final together is hopefully, because it seems like they're ongoing.
Comprehensive plan. The only update I have is I talked to Chris Rogers earlier today. And I've invited him to come to our April meeting to go over the goals, the comprehensive plan goals with us. And talk about a status of things that we're working on or other entities in the city are working on in preparation for the annual report to state planning, which is due the end of June. So Chris thought we might have an application in front of us, a pretty big one, in April, but he wasn't sure if they would be ready or not. So if that's true, we'll postpone Chris till our May meeting and deal with the application, because a lot of times that can take a long time. Otherwise, we'll have Chris and go through the comp plan goals and, we can help him with what we know about things going on and he can help us understand what state planning is looking for. But there is an annual status report that we give based on the goals in the comprehensive plan. So anything else on the comprehensive plan? All right, we don't have a lot of public out there. I don't think we have any public comments, so why don't we go to our commissioners? Vera, do you have anything?
I don't have anything.
All right,
No.
Cynthia,
Not me.
Matthew,
Nothing this time, no.
George? All right, and I don't either.
I just want to thank you for doing all the work.
Oh,
Thank you.
Yeah.
oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
All right, I do my best. I'm not a planner, but I'm happy to reach out to people when I need help.
Connected, answer questions,
Right.
yes, thank you, yes.
All right, well, I guess we are ready for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All
Feel
right.
useful.
Second that.
All right, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
All right. Well, thank you all.
Thank you.
So I think next meeting we'll either have an application